If your email inbox is full of clutter and you've been trying to figure out exactly how to get to inbox zero, stay tuned because that's what I'm going to talk about in this video, how I went to 17,500 emails in my inbox to less than 7. Hi, I'm Trisha Clements with MuttButs.com. I'm a social media manager and I focus a lot on Google My Business and local SEO. And I wanted to give you some tips on how I took my inbox that had 17,500 emails and went down to 7 emails in under 5 hours. So the biggest thing that I learned from this is that everybody has their own way of doing things. You don't necessarily have to follow a step-by-step of what someone else has done. Figure out what works for you and that's what you need to implement. So I worked with G Suite because that's what I use. And so these tips really, first of all, apply mostly to G Suite and Gmail, but they are tips that can help anyone who's looking to clear out their inbox. First thing, I did not mass delete all these emails because I needed some of these emails. So don't mass delete them. Number one tip is create some folders, a handful of folders that you're gonna save some emails you're gonna need later on. So go ahead and create those folders. And then Gmail has something called different features, important emails and then everything else. And you can set your email out up so that you show important emails in one section and everything else in another. So I made sure that I had that set up. And the first thing I wanted to do was really work with the everything else first because I knew the important emails were going to take a little bit more time and I didn't want to get bogged down with these emails and then feel like I haven't accomplished anything. So I went to the everything else first, and then what I did was I started at the end first. So I had 17,500 emails. I didn't start at the first one in that everything else section. I went all the way to the end, to the very last email, and sorted them that way. Now you'll look and see there's gonna be showing up in batches of 100 emails when you do that. So I just went to the very end, select all, and then just quickly skim through to see who they were from. You can easily tell, especially if they're a year or two or more older. Most of those can be deleted. You can just tell that they're just emails that you didn't spend time looking at and they weren't from clients, they were just unimportant emails. So you can just select them all and then just quickly go through and skim and see if there's anything in there that you want to keep for later that may be still in your inbox that didn't get sorted out, and uncheck those. And then delete all those emails that you selected out of there, out of that 100 that you don't need, and just delete them. Then it leaves just the ones that you unchecked, and you can just select all of those, move them over into a folder because you need them, but you don't need them right now. So that's how I really went through all of those emails. And I did it in 2 days. I didn't just sit down for 5 hours. It would have driven me crazy. I couldn't have handled that. So what I did was did 2.5 hours on one day and then 2.5 hours on another day, and then went through and really just kind of moved them all into my folders and deleted. So, but the big thing is don't just mass delete because you're gonna delete emails that you really need. Now, the key is the goal is really not zero. At least that's what I think. The goal is to have a manageable inbox. So there's some emails that I want to keep in my inbox because I'm going to follow up with in a couple of days. There's some ways you can do this, a couple different ways. I typically what I'm trying to do is have maybe 10 emails tops in my inbox. But I'm not going to say that's every single second of the day, that's all I'm gonna have. Take maybe 2 times a day and say those are the times I'm checking my email and sorting through, and then just mass delete the ones that you don't want. If you're subscribed to some things and you're no longer interested, in take a second to unsubscribe to that. Because there aren't so many emails, you'll have that chance to go in and just unsubscribe. It won't be overwhelming. And there's also something called unroll.me that will also help you see all of your subscriptions that you have, and you can easily swipe through and that will unenroll you, or you can swipe the other way and it will keep you in those email lists. So once you've gotten through and deleted all of your emails that you don't need, you're at a place where you're ready to proceed. Decide about how many emails you're thinking is good in your inbox. Mine is a good number is 10, but then again, I always like to look through, and it's not a set number. That's just kind of what my range is. Now, pick a time, again, several times a day, to go in and skim your emails and see what can just be deleted, what can be moved into a folder. Now, G Suite has something that's really neat, several features. There's a snooze button. So if I have heard from a client and they're saying, I'll get back to you in a couple of days, but I need to remember to follow up with them. I always put that on my notes, but one thing is, maybe I don't want that email sitting in my inbox. You can snooze it and pick a date and time for that to come back and show back up in your inbox that you need to then follow up with them. So that's a really good thing that I like to do. Also, Gmail has filters. You can filter all your incoming mail. If you've got specific people that you're receiving email from, you can mark them as important, priority, star them, put them in your inbox. All of those things you can do so you can make sure the ones that you really need to receive are at the top of your inbox. Some of the key things that I came up with when I was doing inbox 0, I'll call it inbox 10 because that's what I'm doing, is to basically do it your own way. Figure out what works for you. And I like to say get a G Suite account because it is really easy to use and implement, because I had a ton of emails. So that was a way to get in there and quickly sort through and get rid of the ones I didn't need. The delete key is your friend. Go ahead and delete. The main thing is, don't just check all of them and not look at them at all. You can quickly skim and see if you've got some things in there that you don't need, maybe all these coupons that you're never going to use, old, just delete them. But then you can make sure you uncheck and save the ones that are important that maybe you don't need to respond to, but you need to keep the email. The other thing is sort and sort some more. Sort that email, sort through it. Don't obsess over your new emails. Don't worry that you always have to have an inbox 0. You don't. Just don't obsess over it, but just have it clean to where it's manageable. The other thing is, just do it. Do it. Clean that inbox out. It is a new year, a new decade, new clean inbox, no clutter. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got a lot of stuff out of it. Please subscribe and turn your notifications on, and I will see you all in the next video. I'm Tricia Clements with MuttButs.com.